can tell everybody. And you can tell everybody. And you can tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. So, I had two choices of videos I wanted to do. It could be, my first choice was some Jekyll and Hyde type conversation based around characters and their demon or their inner demon transformation. Things like Inuyasha's demon form, Hollow's, Naruto, Nine-Tailed Fox mode, that kind of stuff. Or I could talk about Fairy Tail. As you can see from the title of the video, we're going to talk about Fairy Tail. And it's weird because I wanted to do this particularly because I know the fandom is pretty angry with me when I talk about Fairy Tail because I always dog it out. And to be perfectly fair, at least coming from me, it wasn't really justified because Fairy Tail is a series I really didn't get into enough to really make some of the claims I was making on it. To give you, I think I've explained my history of Fairy Tail, but just as a refresher for those who don't know, I was never into Fairy Tail initially. Like, Fairy Tail was a series I didn't even know about. I think it was J-Man. I think it was like J-Man, Yokorama, I think even over Blackman were the first few people I was hearing about Fairy Tail from. Like, I didn't fucking go out of my way to find actually, Toriko was something similar. I didn't go out of my way to find those shows. Those shows just kind of ended up in my doorstep because I knew people or I had friends who were into Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail aesthetically, and this is the one thing I always will give Hiro Mashima credit for, he's also one of the few mangaka that does another thing that Oda does that I really enjoy, is that he makes very visually appealing characters. It's a lot, like I know the running joke with Fairy Tail, or one of the running jokes with Fairy Tail, is that Fairy Tail quote unquote steals or rips off One Piece. I don't know enough about the series to overarching say that, but I will say in terms of story setup, most stories have been done before. Like Alabasta for One Piece is not the first time that kind of story has been done. So to be perfectly fair, to say that Fairy Tail ripped off story beats, one, I haven't read enough of the story to make that statement, and then two, most of those stories have been done before anyway. The only thing in terms of rip-off that I will truly ever claim to be a little concerning is probably Gildarks and Shanks, because that shit looks a little bit too close to the point where I would almost argue that even if he didn't mean to rip him off, he definitely got a lot of inspiration from Shanks. Now, I haven't read any interviews to prove that. That's just my own conjecture, so that could be easily proven wrong. That's like the only thing I'll say in terms of rip-off level, because it looks a little concerning, at least in terms of appearance. Personality, once again, I won't comment too much on it. But anyways, getting back into the history, so I didn't really notice much, but I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to give it a shot, and I bought like the first few volumes, and I tried to watch the anime, and I could not, for the life of me, get interested in either. And it wasn't really anything specific. I used to say it was because it was boring, which is, I think, is still part of it, but I think it's just that nothing really grabbed me about it. It was a shonen anime about magic and about mages, where the mages are like non-traditional mages. Ironically enough, it's one of the reasons why I make the argument that like Black Clover reminds me of Fairy Tail, except it just seems a little bit more magic focused, although it still suffers from the same. It's magic focused, but it doesn't inherently feel like magic. Although I would argue it feels more like magic than Fairy Tail, but that's primarily because of the grimoires, which are these books that hold your spells and kind of dictate what your affinity is for magic in general. Now, granted, I don't understand fully how the magic system works in Fairy Tail, so I'll just say on a base level, it just didn't really grab me. But going back into the one thing I really enjoy about Fairy Tail aesthetically is not only does he make really good character designs, but he's like one of the few Hiro Mashima is one of the few shonen manga that actually have their characters switch outfits throughout arcs. God, please don't. I'm like, I can't be the only person who can't stand that like Naruto wore the same jumpsuit, and like every time you saw him in a movie or OVA, it was just like a very slight variation of his jumpsuit. And to be fair, Luffy does this too. Like most of Luffy's outfits are just slight variations on his look. I mean, you have to kind of go pretty far into like movie and OVA territory to get him to wear something fully different. Granted, the older movies did it better than the new ones do, and the new ones just give them like they all get like full on makeovers, and I appreciate that. I think one of the examples I remember off the top of my head was like Juvia, because like I saw the way Juvia was introduced and I saw her outfit, and then I've seen her in later arcs and she looks completely different. Hairstyles completely different. I appreciate that because it always, to me, that always showed a form of progression. That not only were the characters changing, but of course, if the characters changing, the way they dress and show and choose to like present themselves to the world would change. So obviously, I would expect the clothing and outfits to change. But Fairy Tail's ending, it's less than 10 chapters now. I probably would say it's like somewhere between 5 and it's gotta be somewhere between 4 and 6 probably. And so I kind of wanted to say my piece about the series before it ended, because to be honest with you, I have been casually looking at this last arc for the most of it. Not all of it, but like most of it I've been casually looking at. And obviously I don't recognize all the characters and I don't understand all the general things going on. But I felt like Fairy Tail is one of those series that I feel like it served what it really wanted to do. Fairy Tail, I think, at the core of itself, because a lot of the complaints I always made about Fairy Tail were complaints I heard from other people. Like how they use the power of friendship to get them out of any shitty situation. There is no real threat because characters don't die. And I've seen examples of that just in this last arc. I'm not going to say who or what, but I'm just saying. I've seen examples of those complaints, so I recognize that they're true. And it's just very fan servicey, and friendship is magic bullshit. And to be honest with you, a guy like me who likes campy, dumb shit anyway, that's not really an inherent problem. It's just for some reason the way Fairy Tail presents it to me specifically, it just doesn't click with me. But I think Fairy Tail had a goal. And I think Fairy Tail's goal was pretty much to do what kind of like what My Hero Academia gets praised for doing, which is to inspire people and make people want to fight and go towards their dreams. Like it's that same shonen shtick of like, do your best, appreciate your friends and family, and never give up, no matter what people tell you. Like it's still that same shonen stick, and I think at the core of it all, that's what Fairy Tail is primarily about. I mean, it's always like from the footage I've seen, it's always that whole, we do it for the guild, we do it for Fairy Tail and shit. Like, and that's because I think that's the core of it all. And I think it works. Fairy Tail works as a cool gateway anime. Like, it's like as much as I don't like Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online worked as a gateway anime. I think Sword Art Online is fucking garbage, like dead ass. I think I can't stand Sword Art Online. Kill la Kill's pretty close to the same boat. Can't fucking stand Kill la Kill. That one bothers me more because that's Studio Trigger, and I like the character designs, which is why it pisses me off. I don't like Kill la Kill. But all those shows served as gateway animes for people. People watch those shows and say, "Man, this looks really cool. I want to see if there's more stuff like it." And then they saw stuff. And I think even if you don't like those shows, because I don't like those fucking shows. I don't like those. I don't like Akame ga Kill. I don't really care for Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, at least I can recognize that just isn't for me, let alone me saying it's inherently written badly. Whereas I think Kill la Kill and fucking Sword Art Online are written badly. I think as much as you may not like those shows, Fairy Tail included, for me anyway, and the thing with Fairy Tail is my dislike of Fairy Tail is literally just a simple dislike. It's not like this overarching hatred, because I never got invested into Fairy Tail enough to be angry with it. I mean, there are aspects of Fairy Tail that get on my nerves just based off of what I've seen, but like it never ticked me off enough for where I would like flip out in a blind rage and be like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Like the reason why I shit on Kill la Kill so much, and I shit on Akame ga Kill, and I shit on Sword Art Online is because I sat through episodes. I sat through half of the season for Kill la Kill and Sword Art Online, and then for Akame ga Kill, I went and read the manga for Akame ga Kill, and it just pissed me off. That shit aggravated me. I haven't seen enough of Fairy Tail for it to make me angry. I feel like at the worst, Fairy Tail is just kind of harmless because it doesn't. I always was wondering, I was like, well, why is the hatred for Fairy Tail so strong? because Fairy Tail doesn't seem that inherently different when it starts than where it is now currently. And I think the major difference is that unlike a lot of shonen series, I think because the one thing I kept hearing about when people say you need to watch Fairy Tail was in reference to, I believe, Urza and Lucy's like backstories or arcs. I think those were like the two major things I kept hearing about, and maybe something else. It was an evil organization, something 7. I'm not sure what it was. I remember J-Man used to tell me all the time, like, Urza's such a good character, the backstory for Lucy, like that kind of stuff. That, you know, pretty much stereotypical fandom shit. You know, when people try to get you into a series, they try to reference something that's really fucking cool. It's like when I talk about Skit Dance, and I talk about how sad the backstories are. I said, you will fucking... Switch's one will catch you off guard, and I kept telling J-Man that he eventually watched Skit Dance, and he enjoyed it. I don't know if I think he finished the anime, I'm not sure, I haven't asked him. But the point I'm making is that, like, I think it's because of that is the reason why people are so angry with Fairy Tail. I think because Fairy Tail was pretty okay, fine, probably in the mediocre range, where it was like inoffensive to both parties. I know people have their issues with fan service, but hell, I watch One Piece. You really think I give a fuck that there's fan service and look, Juvia, dead ass, and I've said this multiple times, I fucking love Juvia. And that's just based off of clips and random manga panels with her. I don't even fucking know all the stuff about Juvia there is to know. I just know that I find her fucking adorable, and I love her sequences with Gray when I am randomly watching a Fairy Tail clip. But I think the one thing, and this is, as I said, this is just conjecture, I think the major thing about Fairy Tail that ended up pissing off the fans is that Fairy Tail, I think at one point, hit a level where it could have been treated as like another mainstream, high-quality series like One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. As much as I don't think Bleach and Naruto are good in their latter halves, they were still considered high tier for a while anyway, until especially Bleach dropped the fuck off due to a whole bunch of other things. Fairy Tail, I think at one point hit a peak. Hit a fucking peak that was like god tier greatness, or at least good enough to elevate it from being like okay to being pretty good. And then I think really just kind of flatlined, and just started casually dropping lower and lower. And I think that's what hurt. I think it hit a peak really early. So a lot of the thing with Fairy Tail now is that a lot of the fandom holds a lot of animosity towards it, as if it got its hopes up. Like you were a fan who kind of liked Fairy Tail, and then you saw like a certain arc or a certain fight, anyway, that is some good shit. But then realize that but unlike other series that would have continued and kept climbing, you realize that was Fairy Tail's peak, and everything else was just kind of a slight downgrade. And like after a point, the series got predictable for you. And you know, all the other issues that run across with ongoing shonens, especially if the story isn't like tight or set up in a way that can be maintained as interesting. I mean, Fairy Tail, even I know Fairy Tail resorted to doing the same shit, like doing time skips and doing tournament arcs and rescue arcs and stuff. I mean, and that's not anything bad in themselves, but usually those arcs follow a certain style, which limits how much unique shit the author can spin it in themselves. And if you already were feeling jaded about Fairy Tail not hitting the expectations it once hit, you would feel incredibly jaded, like when you're watching a new arc, realizing that there's like very little potential for something different, then finishing the arc and being like, oh, this is exactly what I thought. It was a waste of time. Because that was the other argument I kept hearing, was that like Fairy Tail was insanely predictable because like no one ever died, there was no real tension. Which I don't know if I believe in that to be a true negative against the series, because One Piece does that. One Piece, for all of the things that's great about it, really Oda doesn't like killing off characters. He rarely kills off characters. I don't believe the Bon Clay is dead. I think we've only seen 2 characters actively die in One Piece that wasn't on a flashback, which was Whitebeard and Ace. Oda doesn't do that, so I don't think that's a real fair thing against Fairy Tail. It's kind of funny that for Bleach's ending, it was like I don't give a fuck. I don't even know if I don't remember if I did a video for Bleach. I think I did a video for Bleach. But for Fairy Tail, it's funny that my last video of Fairy Tail is probably the most kind I've been to Fairy Tail. And it's probably because, just like everyone else, you got caught up in the bullshit, and hating on Fairy Tail became a thing to do. Which is funny, but considering the One Piece fandom had to deal with that shit for years until people were willing to give the show a chance. So I will like to formally apologize to the Fairy Tail fans I've probably offended over the years, because I may not care for your series to a high degree, but it's something you enjoy, and I did rag on it really without any justification. Now, if I had sat there and watched Fairy Tail or read Fairy Tail through like all the arcs, and then the only reason why I'm apologizing is because I'm not informed enough on the series to really make the claims I was making. If I was informed, there would be no remorse whatsoever. It's just, I mean, that's why I don't take back anything I say about Akame Got Killed or Kill la Kill or Sword Art Online, because I've watched those series and they're fucking bad. They're fucking bad and stupid. But that's a completely different story. I think, and it's funny because I think that unlike something like Akame Got Killed, that I just don't inherently think is a good story at all, I could see people still going back and rewatching and rereading Fairy Tail. See, Fairy Tail is like a feel-good series. Even if Fairy Tail has its problems narratively and has the problems with like not killing characters, not building tension, all this other shit, Fairy Tail at the end of it all is still like a feel-good series. You can still, like, from what I've seen of Fairy Tail is one of those series you can literally turn on, watch an episode or two, and be perfectly fine. Hell, you can watch an arc and be perfectly fine. It's one of those series. Whereas Akame Got Killed, it was all about fucking death and murder and shit. And like, once you get over the fact that characters die every arc, there's really no punch or no interesting aspects to Akame Got Killed. But I don't want to turn this into a Akame Got Killed rant. But you know, you get the general idea of what I'm talking about. Fairy Tail will always have that feel-good appeal to it. Even, I mean, it's the same. Actually, I would argue it's like Raid Master. It would have the same feel-good appeal that Raid Master has. Raid Master may not be perfect, but you could watch an arc or so of Raid Master and be perfectly fine. And I think Fairy Tail will always have that. Fairy Tail will always serve as kind of that anime that, even though it may not be as great as it used to be or as people said it was at one point, you can still turn it on, watch it, and have fun with it. And I think at the end of it all, for Fairy Tail, that's exactly what it probably needed to do. And it achieved its goal, so props on you for that. Obviously, I may feel different if I sat down and watched the arcs. But honestly, I especially now, I don't even think it would make a difference, because now I know what to really expect. So it's not like it bothers me to be like, oh, look, some character didn't die. I mean, I'll still say it's bad writing, but I'm just not going to sweat it as much. But it's been interesting. I think Hiramashima, you gave us some cool character designs, because as much, and hell, dude, you gave us more interesting fan service. I don't give a fuck. To sit there and say I don't like the character designs, please. Although I don't think the anime never really elevated itself from being like mediocre of an anime. Like I've seen some of the anime episodes. It has that kind of animation that like sticks to this like weird samey feel, like where it's not bad, but it's not great at all. It's like I almost feel like the animation was a representation of what the show was. Just kind of okay. It was fine. It would look kind of alright, but I don't know. Anywho, I'm assuming people will probably still get mad at me for opening my mouth and saying anything about Fairy Tail in the first place, but I would like to say, Hiramashima, you've made a lot of money, you've accomplished a lot, and you have characters that people love, and you have a series that is able to get people into anime, and not every anime and manga creator can say that. Also, your series got dubbed and has Blu-ray releases out in America, and it damn sure picked up a lot of steam, because for a while, Funimation was championing Fairy Tail, which I think they still dub it. I think they're still dubbing it. I think they're like past the time skip stuff, right? I don't know. Once again, I'm not the biggest fan of Fairy Tail, obviously, so I haven't followed everything. But you guys let me know what you think about Fairy Tail in the comment section below. For those of you who have been reading it and watching it since it came out, how do you feel about its ending? Where are you at emotionally? Do you agree? Do you disagree? just tell me your thoughts. And for the fun of it all, if you get to the end of the video, tell me who is best girl in Fairy Tail. As I said, mine is Juvia, particularly because I don't have that much familiarity with the other girls. Although, I have seen pictures of Brandish, and Brandish looks like a bad bitch. Just all I'm going to say. Anywho, I'm done. Also, that's another perfectly good character design work going on there. So, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. This has been Schizomanic. That's a game. Play to win. And I'll catch you guys later. Also, I think I said Insane Game Freak earlier. Why did I do that? I don't know. Discord, everything's in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Later days.